Hi everyone. You know, it's really hard when your child comes home from school and they explode in frustration. They're yelling and they're screaming and it's directed at you. Where in the heck did that come from, you're wondering? Don't yell at me, you scream back, and now you're yelling too. You know, as parents, it's often us that are the first level recipients of our child's frustration when school's not going well and they're having a tough time. It's like they've been trying all day to be the best version of themselves they can be, to look like they're doing everything okay, to look like they're coping. And then they get home from school, their guard goes down, and they automatically deflect all their frustration, pent-up anxiety, everything that they've been holding at bay throughout the day comes straight out and it comes straight at us. And it's really hard as a parent, and that's why I'm talking about this on today's topic, because it's something as parents of children with school learning difficulties that we all experience. Now, I get lots of emails in my inbox, and as a result, I also get lots of comments from parents just like myself who are experiencing this on a daily basis because they're at the point where they don't really know what to do and they don't really have a solution. So here are some of the things that I've had in my inbox. There's the 7-year-old who says they'd rather die than go back to school. This is the child that is clinging onto the couch with their fingernails, and they literally have them planted into the fabric so you can't pull them off the furniture and actually get them out the door into the car. You've always got the 10, 8, 10, even up to 14-year-old who says they feel sick in the tummy and they won't get out of bed. And you know what? It's actually really hard to get a 10-year-old out of bed who doesn't want to go because they're big kids. Recently, I had a mum who told me her 14-year-old daughter was so traumatized with going to school that she would get her into the car in the morning, but then this girl would actually be in the back of the car in the fetal position rocking, and she couldn't get this girl to get out of the car. And in the end, she would actually go into the admin building and get the teachers to help her get her daughter out of the car. But can you imagine how stressful that was for that mum? I remember she was on my basketball team, and I remember she had the biggest tears running down her face when she told me this story. And it's not an uncommon story for my inbox. So what do you do? What do you do when you're at this point in your life where A, you're the first point of everything being downloaded, or B, you've got a child whose anxiety levels are now so great that you have a situation where you've literally got to rebuild your child before you can actually get any kind of solution in place? Well, this is what I'm suggesting. What if I told you that I've already helped about 5,000, in fact, it's a lot more than that, but 5,000 families to overcome these types of hurdles with their children? Because yes, it starts with a learning difficulty, but very quickly it becomes anxiety. So quite often, if you address the root cause, the thing that's causing the anxiety from day one, it doesn't take long for the anxiety and the symptoms of anxiety to start to settle. In fact, it can take as little as 3 to 6 weeks to see a major change in your child when their needs are being addressed. Of course, if your child's having really prolonged areas of mental health concern, you really need to see a specialist in this area, because that's of course what we should all do as parents. But for those children who have just decided they don't want to go to school anymore and then started having repeated patterns of behaviour where they're saying they won't go and they're coming up with all sorts of reasons, I can certainly help you to help them to get their smile back. And I've got a system that I guarantee will work. So Statistics show us that about 30% of children who start school find learning to read and spell really hard. It's not easy like it is for some children who just seem to absorb words and they just start reading as though they've never even had a teacher. They're literally taught themselves. For about 30% of children, it's really difficult. And it doesn't take long when they're feeling that difficulty before the confusion and the worry and the anxiety and the defiant behaviour to start. And this is why it starts. Your child is wondering, what's wrong with me? Why is everybody else finding learning to read so easy? This is what they say. They say, I know I'm not dumb, but I can't seem to get this reading thing. Maybe I am stupid. I just don't know. So this conversation, these words are going around in your child's head all day. It is mass confusion for them. Doesn't everyone start school and learn to read and spell easily? Don't they do sums? Isn't it all easy? But no, it's actually not. For about 30% of children, it's not easy. And what you need is you need a fast solution, because children who begin to fall behind and don't receive any kind of support, well, they stay behind. And there's plenty of research done on that as well. So this means that your child needs to be taught in a different way, a way that suits their learning style. They need a learning solution, and it needs to be one that they're going to be happy to do. So in other words, it's self-fulfilling. They're getting rewarded from doing it. And it needs to be short and sharp, because children today really want to be playing. They really want to be hanging out with their friends. They want to be doing their hobbies, playing their sports. They want to be at theatre group. They don't want to be sitting down learning how to read and spell. So it's really important that whatever you choose, it's really fast. And that's the sort of method that I've designed. But I say to parents and teachers, the only way you can get access to this method is by watching the web class. And I'm going to put a link to the web class underneath this Facebook post, because there is no point committing to do something if you actually don't understand what you're committing to. So I want you to watch the web class, and I'll put the link in below. Web classes are also known as webinars. So here's what some other parents have said that have since used this method. So these are some of my parents that are using my method, are in my programs. One says, this is Dion, I think it is. Dion. I think it's Dion. My two boys are using this method. They do it daily without question. So I'm pretty happy with that. You're so right. The 10 minutes means there are no arguments. This is from Kate. She says, we're enjoying this method. Penny has additional learning disabilities, so we're moving a bit slowly and repeating lessons, but she's gone from kindergarten to first grade reading since we started and has increased her reading speed significantly. We're so grateful we'll be able to continue to use this method in the upcoming years. Here's another one. Oh gosh, I've got so many. This is Tina. She says, I paid for this for my son. He was 9 and was still reading at yellow blue since he was 6. So I'm guessing that's a reading level for a child who's in grade 1. He went from this to gold in 1 year. I can't say with all certainty that this was the only reason, but this was the only thing that was different. We gave the sign-in codes to his teacher, and he did his 10 minutes every day at school as part of his reading contract. And she said, I'd do this again in a heartbeat. So there's all the things that the parents are saying. And these are children who have really struggled. Here's one from Lauren, who says that she had a child who was really struggling. She said, I'd like to thank you for giving me hope for my children. My daughter has severe visual processing difficulties, but is excellent at reading. Her spelling, grammar and punctuation are shocking, to say the least. She started yesterday and I got a lot of, so that's what it is. She's done 7 tutorials so far and is already excited. I'm hoping for the same thing for my son, who has ADHD, dyslexia and also visual processing. Everything you mentioned in the webinar sounded like you had met my son. He's in year 6 in Queensland and cannot get extra funding for the support that he needs. His teacher last year was fantastic, but still had to fail him because she scribed his work for him. I've never heard of that before, Lauren. So that's a bit scary. You shouldn't really fail a child because you scribe for them. But anyway, I'm guessing he failed handwriting perhaps. But that knocked his confidence. And now he is in tears every morning before school. So here's to the beginning of a journey that will hopefully result in a happier son. And that was Lauren. So you see, I get all sorts of emails in my inbox. Some are from parents just crying out for help because they've got children that are spiraling downhill. Others are from parents who are saying that this process is really working for them. And when I designed this process, I really designed it to suit the needs of a lot of children. But of course, it doesn't suit every child. And not everything you look at will suit your child. But this method definitely seems to work for many. And when I created it, I did huge amounts of research to ask parents and children what they wanted, what they needed, what would work. And of course, I did enormous amounts of research on the reading process. I went right back through and I studied it, and I created such a multi-sensory method that really it works. I would say for 95% of children who do it, it works so well. You've got nothing to lose. You might just gain a happy, healthy child who loves reading and has got huge potential. And that's what my passion is for you and your family. You aren't going to see anything like this in schools unless your school is looking at this method. But that's why it works, because it is so different to school and children love it. You know, I left teaching because even I found it difficult to stay in the box that was teaching and the expectations of curriculum and the structure of my school day. And I was really a bit of an out there teacher, but teaching this method this way means I can do it my way, and it's having great results. So please watch the webinar. See if it's right for your child, particularly if they're struggling with anxiety. You'll be glad you did. Can I just say that? Because even if this method's not for you, you are going to learn a lot, and it might just change your child's life. So have a fantastic day, everyone. I absolutely love talking to you, and I'm so pleased that you're able to join me today. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay, bye for now.